Hey guys, and welcome to this episode of the Bad Idea Bros. So in the last episode you saw me piecing the NBC110 Super Cub back together, and it was basically getting a bit of use being my daily commuter and doing some shorter trips. Now that bike's well and truly proved itself, and I've grown a little attached to it. So as I alluded in the end of the previous episode, I had a few more plans for this thing. So I'm going to flick this camera around and show you what we're looking at today. So as you can obviously see, the bike has been torn right back down again. All the plastics are gone, the wheels are gone. It's basically back to almost how it was when I first got it. As I mentioned in the last one, the suspension was rebuilt, repainted. That's held up really well. I'm very happy with that. And the exhaust was ceramic coated, and that's done well. So what am I doing with this today? Well, the wheels are off because, as I have previously stated, the tyres were no good. And these are what we will be going to. So just some wee Shinko Golden Boys, which are a moderate all-terrain tyre, just a pretty passive knobby, nothing too aggressive. It doesn't need to be for this bike. They're 275 17s, and they'll be replacing both front and rear tyre on this thing. Now, the bike has still been running strong, and like I said, I just wanted to tidy a few things up. So you guys might remember from the previous videos that all the drive line was in pretty bad condition. So we've got the sprockets rebuilt there. Basically, it's just had little tidy ups that you can't really see, just to make the bike a little more reliable and a little more nicer to ride. But the biggest change with this bike is that I've decided to swap the colour. So the red panels looked good on camera. They look good from a distance, but they were a little scrapped up, a little scraped, not amazing. Considered repainting it, but wanted to try something a little different this time. So I'll cut to a few images while I'm talking and show you guys a bit of a process. But I basically had to go with vinyl wrapping. So I chose a deep metallic blue, purely because it's not a colour that I've really seen on these bikes before. Thought it might be something nice and just a wee bit different. Safe to say, I'm no vinyl wrapper. It's a lot harder than it looks, but I'm genuinely pretty happy with how it's come out. There's a few rough edges, but this bike isn't showroom quality. It's not, it's not a show bike. It's a daily rider. It just needs to look good, basically. And overall, I'm pretty happy with how it came out. So the first thing for today, guys, is I'm going to reinstall all the newly wrapped panels. So that's going to be the first thing. Let's get into it. guys, so that's got all the panels back on the bike now, and it's looking pretty good. I'm glad I went with the blue because it's definitely a different colour for one of these bikes, and it's not something that I've seen before. But pretty happy with how it's come out. There are some rough edges. It was never going to be perfect. It's the first time I've ever wrapped anything with vinyl, so lessons were learned. It was a very steep learning curve, but that's okay. So we're going to push on with the next thing, which is fitting the new tyres to the rims, and of course there is a surprise with the rims. They wouldn't have looked quite as good silver with the blue paint, so I thought I'd go for a colour change, and I'll show you that now. Well guys, this is the colour I've decided to go for. It's a flat gold. Thought it would look really good against the blue and the white on the Cub. Really difficult colour to put down. Took a lot of layers, and unfortunately on both rims I had a reaction when putting the clear coat over. Could have been environmental, I'm not really sure, but that was frustrating. So basically laid the colour down and then had to sand and lay the colour down 4 or 5 times, then put clear over. Like everything else on this bike, it's not exactly perfect, but it's good enough. So we're going to mount up the tyres now. So, as mentioned before, I've got the wee Shinkos, the semi-knobby tread sort of things. Should work well with this rim on this bike. So that's the next step. We'll get these mounted and start fitting things to the bike.
Love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't be scared. Just level up. Don't be scared.
Well guys, that is that. I'm really, really happy with how this little bike's come up. The metallic wrap on the panels, really happy with that. There's a few rough edges, but for a first attempt, I think it's come up really well. The flat gold on the rims against that blue is exactly what I was after. I'm really, really stoked with how that's looking. But for a couple of small changes, the bike is a completely different thing now. So obviously at the start of this, the whole plan was to just get the bike going and to use it as a commuter. And I did kind of stick to that. But because it's me, I always end up doing more than anticipated. So there's quite a bit of a list of things that ended up happening with this bike. But basically the short run of it is that it got an ultra blue headlight. It got a new set of mirrors because the ones that it came with, the standard ones, were no good. They were wrecked, like most of the things. The tyres that came with the bike were no good, so the rims have been repainted and the tyres have been changed with the little Shinkos that it's now running. The gold paint on the wheels was probably the hardest part of this job. As I mentioned, the paint took a lot of layers, a lot of sanding just to get it right. I'm a little bit particular with that sort of thing, but it was worth it for the end. The plastics ended up being complete, which is good. The vinyl wrapping took some time, but you know, it's one of those things. I probably could have done a bit of a better job if I took a little bit longer and was a little more patient, but not to worry. The exhaust, that got a full strip. It ended up getting a new gasket to fix the leak, and it obviously got ceramic coated, so that was done as well. But other than adding a few missing parts to the bike, it's not been too bad of a build. Everything was pretty straightforward. The bike started and ran really easily, as you guys would have seen in the first episode, so I was definitely really lucky. But that all being said, there's only really one thing left to do with this now, and that is take it for a ride. So guys, that's what we're going to do in the next one. We'll see you then. Bye.